Hi everybody, I am Chris G and welcome to another edition of the Habs360 podcast featured on allhabs.net. This week's episode aired live on February 16th and was hosted by Peter, Erika and myself. With the news that Carey Price was out of Saturday's game versus the Flyers, Peter spoke about the impact of Price's absence.
Well, we've seen the difference with Carey Price in net and Peter Budaj in net so far this year. I mean, it's two different outcomes every time. I mean, Carey Price is, don't forget, one of the best goalies in the NHL. For even those that don't like him, I mean, you gotta speak the truth here. He is one of the best goalies in the NHL, and when you're forced to put Peter Budaj in net, it certainly weakens your position. That's for sure.
And Erika, Carey Price, like Peter said, 8 wins. If I'm not mistaken, he's the league leader in wins in the NHL. He had a great season so far.
He has had a great season so far. I mean, we've seen those couple games where things just kind of didn't work out for the entire team, but we definitely have not seen a game where, Carey Price was the only problem. Every now and then there's that goal that goes in that you're just like, what? How did that happen? But I still think in general he's been pretty solid. Occasionally maybe his teammates don't support him as much as they should, but luckily the team as a whole, they've been winning and losing as a team.
And Carey Price's record is 8-3-0 in 11 games, and I'm just confirming right now that Carey Price is the league leader in wins for this season. So that's great. And so I'm looking now at a save percentage of 922, which is pretty good. I'm just trying to see some other goaltenders where he ranks, and he's still up there in the top. But if you look at a goalie like Henrik Lundqvist, who is traditionally hasn't putting up better numbers than Carey Price, has a save percentage of 912 for the Rangers. So Erika, with Peter Budaj being in goal tonight, does that worry you?
Yes and no. Obviously, I am a little bit worried because Budaj doesn't really. I mean, we've seen how he performs most of the time. He's not quite. He's not the Clydesdale like Carey Price is. Let's put it that way. But at the same time, the Flyers are probably going to be starting Brian Boucher, so I guess we have sort of a level playing field as far as that goes. And to be honest, part of the reason why Peter Budaj maybe isn't performing as well as he should be is because he just doesn't start enough. So it's kind of a catch-22 of, should Budaj be playing more in general so that then when his team needs him, he'll be better than he would be if he just wasn't playing at all.
Yeah, and Peter, that's a good point that Erika brings up. In a shortened season, Peter Budaj, how many games do you expect him to play on the 48-game season?
Well, exactly. I mean, I think our prediction was that Carey Price would play at minimum 40, 42. So when unfortunate situations like this happen where he gets the flu, when it's not like a scheduled start for Budaj, you're forced to put him in, and that certainly is not in favor of the Canadians.
And I think it was 2 Saturdays ago, if I'm not mistaken, is when Max Pacioretty was out of the lineup. And at that time, I remember when we were on the podcast, the news that, if I'm not mistaken, the Canadians had said was that Pacioretty had the flu-like symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And then later that week, we found out that he had an emergency appendectomy. I hope I pronounced that word right. So, do you think, Peter, that the Canadians may be hiding something with this injury, or
just relax? Just chill out.
Well, from what we've seen so far, I mean, it's only a couple of hours since they've mentioned this. I saw from Renaud Lavoie from RDS, who tweeted that Michel Therrien found out last night about this flu. So those are the only details we know so far. Could he be hiding another injury? I mean, the last game he played against Florida, he got the shutout. So
Yeah, he did get the shutout, but at the same time, just trying to pull up the stats here really quick. Did he face any hard shots or shots on goal? I think he faced 26 shots, which is a fair amount of work, I guess, on that night. Erika, any chances they're hiding an injury?
I think it's absolutely possible. I don't want to say anything for sure, but something as when they say that a player is sick when he has like the flu or something, I feel like we don't really have, any proof of that. They're not going to be bringing out any of the team physicians to say, okay, yes, this is what's wrong with whatever. It's not a knee injury. And, I mean, you could maybe use the example of Max Pacioretty a couple weeks ago, although it might not be the best example in this case since flu-like symptoms could sort of, he probably just had like a fever and he wasn't feeling well and he was really weak, which could be a flu. It could be appendicitis. You don't really know. But it's happened before that, they'll say that a player has a cold, or I believe it's happened with Carey Price before, actually, that he has a cold, he has flu-like symptoms, something like that, and that's what they say it is, and then it turns out to be, it might be a mild concussion. It might just be that he's fatigued. It might just be, honestly, once, I remember a couple of years ago, hearing that one of the Canadians players had a cold, or he was sick or something, and then the next day, I happened to see him out shopping, and it's just because his parents were in town. So for all we know, it could be something minor, it could be something major, or they could actually be telling the truth. We don't really know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were maybe covering something up.
So we've seen like the Canadians have been a little more transparent this year compared to the last two previous regimes. You never know, maybe when the opening montage on RDS opens up tonight, it might show like a bottle of Buckley's or something. Like that, just to show that it's not actually a real flu-like symptoms for Carey Price. 1-877-455-4945 is the phone number. At Habs360 is our Twitter account. We have a tweet from HBBB North, Ryan Carson, who says, Buda is not Carey Price, but our defense has to do a better job of keeping the paint clean. Too many second chance goals being scored. Thank you very much for the tweet, Ryan. And that's actually a point that I read quotes from Max Pacioretty and Josh Georges, if I'm not mistaken, from this morning, where they said that they want to play better in front of Peter Budaj. So is that are they trying to imply that Peter Budaj needs a little more help, or does that mean you think, Peter, that in previous games they weren't trying as hard when Carey Price not in it?
Well, the last game they played, no, I think the team has to play different than when Carey Price is in goal. Carey Price is one of the best goalies in the league, and you can count on him on making the saves more often than Peter Budaj would. Peter Budaj is not really an elite goalie, and I'm sure the game plan is different and the system is different too for tonight's game, and for every time Peter Budaj is in it.
Erika, do you think the Habs play different when Budaj is in goal?
Absolutely. I don't know if they do it on purpose. I don't think, they have any personal problems with him or anything, but there's no way that you can actually prove that the team would play the exact same way when they've got a different goaltender behind them. A guy who has a different personality, who has a different style, who probably approaches the game in a different way. I think it's very possible that, yes, they do play differently in front of him, whether they do it on purpose or not.
I hope you enjoyed the preview of this week's episode. To listen to the entire podcast, click on the link on this page. A reminder that you can follow me on Twitter at Christian1980. My co-hosts Peter and Erika can also be found on Twitter at Peter Galanos for Peter and at Habitterway for Erika. Our next episode will air live on Saturday, February 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Follow our Twitter account at Habs360 for more details. Thanks for listening and have a good week.